I'm doing it, y'all. I am taking my absolute number one favorite makeup product of all time, the Jane Iredale Liquid Minerals, and I'm putting its replacement to the test. And that really, truly pains me to say. When I first heard about the fact that this was being replaced over a month ago, I was mad. Mad. Because if it's not broke, don't fix it. That's kind of my mentality on everything in life, but especially my favorite makeup products. But they think they fixed it, and we are here to determine whether or not they did. So let's jump in. I've already done my eyeshadow, and I typically don't do that before I come on camera to talk about a complexion product, and I feel like it looks really weird. I have not put on any corrector because I prefer to apply this product with my fingers, and I feel like when I do that, I can mess up any products that I've already put on the face, so I tend to do corrector after this. Now, let's talk about why I love the original so much. If you haven't seen my review on this, this is like a tinted serum or a very sheer foundation product. If you see, it has little beads. Those are mineral pigment beads that are encapsulated in aloe vera, CoQ10, hyaluronic acid, all of this good moisturizing ingredients. When you pump it out, they mix together, the beads burst as you rub it in, and it provides this sheer to light coverage, super hydrating, works wonderful by itself or as a primer for another foundation. It all around is the best. So what they have done with this, a few things. They had 13 shades in this. They now have 7 in this. They market that as a good thing. I don't know if I'm really buying that aspect of it because I understand it's a sheer product and there are going to be many skin tones that can fall under the umbrella of one shade. I get that. But I don't know that I would market saying we've reduced the shades as a good thing, but they're saying they streamlined it to where it's easier to find your shade. They have changed it from shade names to kind of tones and numbers. For instance, I am medium number 4 in this, whereas I was suntan in the original. So maybe that's easier to determine what you will be based off your undertone, but they are putting that in the pro column, the fact that they went from 13 to 7. They have added 3 ingredients. I'm not exactly sure which 3 ingredients they added to make it easier to apply, because I have mentioned many times that there is quite a learning curve with this. Some people will pump this out, say it looks like cottage cheese, because it kind of does, and think they have a bad batch. They don't. It's the way that it's made. It just needs to be applied properly, and it looks flawless on the skin. They added some ingredients into this one to where when you pump it out, it does not have that visual. People aren't going to freak out. It's easier to apply. Great, perfect. And they also added some ingredients that they say claim help to reduce redness even more than was in the original formula. So those are the main differences in this new one than this old one. But let's see how they differ on the skin. I have been trying this one out on and off for the past 3 weeks. I have a solid opinion of it, but for the review purposes, I'm gonna do half and half. So I'm gonna do one side of my face with the new, one side with the old, so that if you are a lover of the old formula, you can see if you really think it's that different. And then of course, I'll give you my final thoughts at the end. I do not have anything but sunscreen on my face. It does say on the website, and you will see people say that you can use a primer under this. With the formula that it is, I feel like having too much stuff underneath it makes it not as easy to spread out. If I am going to be using any kind of primer while I'm using this product, this is going to be the primer. This is what I'm going to use underneath another foundation to add hydration and plumpness to the skin, because it really does. It has the CoQ10, which is a great antioxidant. It's got olive squalane in it. It has hyaluronic acid. Super moisturizing. And of course, all Jane Iredale products are safe immediately post-procedure. So if you're someone who has lasers or, gets a lot of in-office work and you don't want to leave without having a plumped up look with a tiny bit of coverage, this is a great product to use for that. So we're going to start on this side of the face with medium 4 in the new HydroPure. What is this called? What is this even called? Y'all, I haven't even told you. HydroPure Tinted Serum. Why am I still bitter? Even just reading it, I'm like, why? Okay, I'm gonna take 2 pumps and I'm gonna show you what both of the products look like right after pumping it out. So you can see, pretty smooth, right? I do like to apply this with the finger, so I'm just gonna take a little bit and initially kind of roughly apply it, and then I will go in and apply it just like a moisturizer. And again, this is the shade Medium 4. Really good shade for me, I feel like. It does apply flawlessly. I will give it that. So this is with the HydroPure and this is with nothing. So I don't know if it's gonna come across on camera, but I do have some redness. Now granted, I have been up and about for quite a while. It is already 12:40 in the afternoon. I have been out of the house for the entire morning. So my redness has dialed down a little bit, as it tends to do throughout the day, but there is still a little bit there. And this just kind of evened the tone, right? Just kind of warmed my skin up a little bit, gave the teensiest bit of coverage, and did give, you know, the illusion of a little bit of plumpness, okay? 2 pumps of suntan. I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference. This is a little bit chunkier, okay? And that's what they're saying, that it's gonna be a little less scary to apply this new one, but let's just apply suntan on this side and we'll compare the shades, finish. I wore them side by side yesterday. So to me, applying it that way is just as easy as the other one. I have never had issues applying this with my finger like a moisturizer. It's when you start applying it with brushes that it can get a little difficult, even synthetic brushes. It's a very, very hydrating product and it can almost glop up the brush and just not apply nicely, spread out evenly. I just don't love it as much, near as much with using a brush as I do with my hands. Okay, so this is the original formula. Any redness that I had is pretty much covered up. And then the new. Let's cover up these bags real quick before we talk about anything else, shall we? Okay, this is the new side. Zeus is freaking out about something. Sorry. I feel like the shades are pretty comparable, but I don't know if you can see right here is a line of my redness. And it looks a little patchy right there. Over here, a little bit of the redness is showing. But honestly, that is what I expect from liquid minerals or this tinted serum. It's actually quite patchy right there. Let me see if I can put a little bit more on it. Try to help that out. Yeah, that kind of helped it out some. I think the older version had a tad bit more coverage to it. I don't know if it's going to be noticeable on camera or not. Get up close for y'all. New version. Old version. Still pains me to say old version. And when I first applied this, that was my first thought. It doesn't have as much coverage as the original, and the original doesn't have a ton, okay? So to me, that is the very first thing that I can tell a difference in. Now, because the main way that I wear liquid minerals is underneath the Purpressed foundation, I'm gonna do that today. But I did wanna give you a good look at what it looks like by itself. I'm gonna apply some concealer real quick. I'll come back and we can see if it looks any different underneath the foundation. Okay, so I'm gonna take my, as you can tell, beloved Purpressed Base from Jane Iredale. Definitely have a backup of this because it will only be a few more times before I run out. And the handy brush from Jane Iredale. So again, I'm doing this because this is how I typically wear it. I did test it without this on top and just a setting powder. I will talk about that in the final thoughts. But because this is how I typically wear it, this is how I wore it in my review of the original, I wanted to do this as well. So I'm just gonna take it. And set those 2 tinted serums. Okay, so that is with the Purpressed foundation on top. So new side, a little patchy right there. Old side. I don't know if y'all have an opinion just on this of which one looks. I'm gonna go finish up my makeup. We'll see how it looks with the completed face, and then I will give y'all my final thoughts. Okay, face is finished with all, of course, Jane Iredale products, bronzer, highlight, blush. The highlight and blusher on my eyes. I'll have everything listed below. But here are my final thoughts. After wearing this one for the past 3 weeks or so, and this one for the past years, I definitely have a solid comparison between the two, especially after wearing them side by side like I have on right now. I feel like the new one has a little bit less coverage, like I had mentioned. It is a little bit less luminous throughout the day, especially under this foundation, but also under a regular setting powder. So if you have maybe combo skin, you might like the newer one better than the older one. They claim the new one is for all skin types, but do please know that it is a very hydrating product. So if you already have a lot of natural hydration to your skin, it might be a little overboard. But again, it is just a tad less luminous throughout the day. However, I do feel like it doesn't look as good at the end of the day as the older one by a smidgen, y'all, like a smidgen. And they're very, very, very close in how they perform. These are just when I really critically look at them, because it's my favorite product, the older one, and I'm going to be very critical of the new one. I want it to stand up to the original. It just looked a little, I don't even want to say cakey, because I don't even know if it's possible for this product to get cakey, but it just didn't look as good and smooth at the end of the day to a very critical eye. You're not going to be able to tell a difference. Someone else is not going to be able to tell a difference. I'm just telling you my observations. And that's really it. Otherwise, they perform in a very similar fashion. Again, I did try the new one under just regular setting powders. Really no difference in how it wore. You're just not going to get as much coverage as if you apply a powder foundation on top of it, like I did. There's nothing saying you have to apply anything on top of it, but there's also nothing saying that you couldn't even put a liquid foundation on top of it and still have a great result, because like I had said, I do prefer to use this more as a primer if I am going to be using it with another foundation versus using a primer underneath this. If I only use this and put like a regular setting powder on top, I still don't use a primer. I just don't feel like it's necessary. So many DMs about this, y'all. So many comments on Instagram, YouTube, personal message. So many people wanting to know. And I'm here to tell you there is not a huge difference. They claim that the newer one is easier to apply. I personally don't find that to be the case, probably because I'm so used to applying this and I've just figured it out over the years. But if you have tried this in the past and you didn't like it kind of because of that, I would still give this one a try, because they have made the process a little bit smoother and simpler with the new formula than with the old. If I absolutely had to choose, I still prefer the old. That is not to say that when I'm done with this one and the backup that I have of this one, that I'm not going to continue to use this one and probably repurchase more, because I will. I still really love what it does for the skin. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to come out and say, probably said it before, and I still stand by it 100%. No one, and I mean no one, does base products like Jane Iredale. And they're just not talked about enough. Anything you use from their line is going to look good on your skin. This is no different, okay? I am not bashing it. I like it. I love this. But once this is gone and I only have this, I'm gonna end up loving this too. Because again, it still looks good. This is still available on some retailers. I will try to link as many of them that I can find down below. If you know you love this one, I would maybe stock up on a couple so you know you don't have to worry about it for a while. But on the other end of the coin, if you didn't love this one, I would give this one a try, because I feel like the main reason people didn't love this was because of the application, because of the texture, because of the kind of cottage cheese aspect. If you haven't seen my separate review with an in-depth demo of how I like to apply this foundation, and honestly this one too, definitely check out that video. I will put up a card. Hopefully this helped. I guess the main thing about it is that it didn't change enough for me to be overly mad about it. I still love the original, but it's a great product. It is a great product. So hopefully this helped. If you have any extra questions, be sure to list them down in the comment section. I will have everything, like I said, listed in the description box below. Thank y'all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope y'all all go out and have a very blessed day.